Mr. Speaker, the department dealing with weather is very, very important in the country. Meteorology department has been a big help to the country so far, but a lot of time their advice has not been given. I like what the leader of majority has done with this law, but there is a trend which is very common in the current government of setting up as many boards as possible. And I think this is a very big wage bill to the country unless you have a serious justification. We must first of all know what is currently wrong with the meteorological department, and they've been doing very well. Are they not well funded? And if it is funded, and for example, for you to read weather properly, you must have specialized aircrafts which can fly very high above Kenya, and so that can be done in collaboration with the Air Force, and then take the necessary photographs and the weather forecast is done. Weather forecast is not just done for Kenya. It is done for East Africa. It is done for the world. So it means you must have a system collaborative with the whole world. That system is the ministry dealing with the environment and weather. And so far, this department has been received very well in terms of devolution. Every county in this country, Mr. Speaker, has a CEC in charge of weather. They even have a director in charge of weather. And while they collaborate, they may not have the instruments, and they could have sufficient instruments to do with the local weather. But while they have, when they have a collaboration with the national department, they're able to get information shared to them. In fact, Mr. Speaker, if you just get into your phone now, you'll be able to get any weather forecast in any place on Earth. The bigger challenge has been how you'll be able to predict what the weather will be, and especially when danger is likely to strike. The US uses that very well. You know when there are tornadoes, where they will be, where they will pass. And even as we expected a tornado in East Africa, although it had been forecast that it could come to Kenya, we will only be precautionary. It ended up in Tanzania and caused serious damage there. So climate change is real. But what's the best way of responding to climate change? Is it by just forming one more boards? And in fact, since this regime started, we've had close to 100 boards now be formed, be proposed in the National Assembly and in the Senate. While previously, there was a general regulation of, under the state corporations and something called Mwongozo, that we should combine the efforts to as many smaller boards as possible. And that's why AFA was formed. And I think AFA has been very effective because there was a sugar board, a cotton board, every product a board. And all these people mismanaged. Cotton board mismanaged the cotton, sugar board mismanaged the sugar. So we should be coming with smaller and fewer boards in the country. And one board should be able to do as many functions as possible. So I don't think a board is necessary. What is necessary is to strengthen the Department of Meteorology in this country. It to strengthen the departments of meteorologists in the counties. And the weather can be read anywhere in the world, anytime, even just through your phone. Any place you Google, you'll be able to be told what the weather is. Meaning the whole world is up to date. And therefore, this law by the leader of majority, Mr. Aaron Cheriot, Senator, is totally unnecessary for now. Is another selfish way of creating employment for certain individuals. Is another way of ballooning the wage bill, and they should be discouraged as much as possible, and especially by the state. And in fact, the next time I'll have an opportunity to address the president, I'll tell him about the many boards which have been formed in the country, which can only balloon the wage bill, and I'm sure you will agree with me. Now, when you look at what is happening currently and the change of weather, we plant trees. When we plant trees, we don't water them. And I think it's an exercise in futility. Before you plant a tree, you must know you are going to water it in the next 3 months, or forecast the weather properly to know that when you plant trees now in different parts of the country, then they will survive. Now the trees we planted in Makueni, in dry weather, even when they are acclimatized to the area, they are not likely to survive unless there is a strategy to have them watered by school children or any other system in the next 3 months. So what we did, we just wasted a lot of public resources unnecessary. But now where you planted trees and there's going to be rain in the next 3 months, then you have succeeded. But you cannot plant trees at the tail end of the weather and at the tail end of the rain season. So I think this holiday for planting trees really should be rethought afresh and should be regionalized so that we all go. Although personally I plant trees throughout, and I plant trees which can grow in Makueni climatic conditions, and we have many people in Makueni planting trees, and in fact we are also planting fruits, mangoes and oranges every other time. And the climate which is appropriate, we plant avocados and we plant the macadamia. And in fact, I got a lot of trees, seedlings from the Minister of Agriculture and the ministry to Makueni, but it was coincidental with the voting of the minister to go home. And we were making a report here. Although it was a bribe, I said we will plant the trees, but we'll vote against the minister who has supplied fake fertilizer. So tree seedlings should not come to senators as a bribe and should be timed well by weather. That's why this law should have been we have quite many laws on environment. It is one of them where we should be improved. And weather forecast should be done for many years. Mr. Speaker, I remember when there was a problem in Athi River, when a developer wanted to build houses on the Athi River bed, the necessary organs in the government were taken to court. NEMA was taken to court. And NEMA was told that's not riparian owner. Yet the wisdom of Jesus Christ say that you cannot build a house on the bottom of the river. You cannot build a house on the rock if you want it to survive during the rainy season. So I warned through the television, through this floor, through the people I could meet, that the court is now wrong and the developer is wrong. And Mr. Speaker, because I've seen floods, that river not have a flood for 20 years as I come to Nairobi. Every 20 years, that river has serious floods. And it finally, although a stream flows, this time round it went over the trees, just like many years, 20 years ago, all the go-downs around that area in the river were sunken in water. If we had a proper weather forecast, then the people with the developer would have been advised, we are sorry, these houses will go one day, and they were all swept, Mr. Speaker. Children were woken up at night. Innocent Kenyans have bought these houses. Now a court order had been given. It is not clear how they will ever be compensated. But I suggest a constitutional suit will deliver to the people of Athi River who had been cheated to buy a house on the bedrock of a river. And there is also something called contributory negligence. They should have used their common sense and read that a river was trying to be diverted its course, and this land was riparian. Now, Mr. Speaker, the government is acting too late on all riparian lands. The late Mishuki would never have allowed, while dealing with the environment, a thing of that nature. The late Mishuki would never have allowed a law like this to be brought to Parliament. It is just creating employment, it is just ballooning, and it is totally of no consequence other than what the scientists are already doing in the country, which they are doing it very well under the Department of Meteorology, and who need to be improved. It is National Assembly who should be allocating more resources to them. It is the National Assembly, the universities should be coming with a stronger department, because now environment is becoming so serious in the world. And environmental law has been improved. We should be coming up with a law which protects the environment and will help us forecast the weather better, other than having a law which is not carefully thought, which is not carefully drafted, and it is simply bringing in, employ more people into already. So what then will you do? This law,
Senator Halwale.
this law has not said, Mr. Speaker, this law has not said what will happen to the current existing department. Will the act which is dealing with that be repealed? And if so, how many acts of parliament will be repealed? Will they be split into two? Or what will happen, Mr. Speaker, because there's a law existing? So, Mr. Speaker, this is clearly over legislation, unnecessary, a waste of public resources. And Mr. Speaker, I don't support it. I urge other members, reasonable members of the society, to reject it, like Senator Governor Halwale, so that we can save Kenyans' funds and do the right thing. Let's do the right amendments to the right law to make it better and fund the Meteorological Department, which have served Kenyans very well so far. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. I oppose.
Senator Tabitha Mutinda.